As thousands of protesters in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, clashed with the police and urged and demanded that the government keep them safe. Armed gangs have united behind a coalition of Ansanm and have forced over 1 million Haitians their home, leaving a trail of extortion, rape and murder in their wake. Despite the government and a UN-backed security mission, the gang's grip on the country only grows stronger. The protest began peacefully, but gunfire erupted later in the day, causing panic that led the crowds to flee. This violence has shocked the nation, and it was the first major protest against Prime Minister Alex Didier Filziami, who took office last November. The government has been accused of corruption, and some even believe there may be collusion with the gangs, a claim authorities have denied. In a devastating development, a UN report shows more than 4,200 people have been killed in Haiti over the last 8 months. Gangs now control much of Port-au-Prince and have spread to other parts of the country. Haiti is at crossroads and its people are demanding action. And will the government stand up to the violence, or will the country descend into further chaos, is the big question that we're asking you. All right, Professor Madhav Nalapat, the editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, is joining us on the broadcast. Professor Nalapat, thank you so much for being here. I hope you can hear me.
Oh yes, of course.
Professor Nalapat, how unpeculiar is it for a country, to go into this kind of a chaotic situation, lose 4,000 to 5,000 people in the last 8 months, and have these gangs get away with literally murder?
Vineet, I want you to know, and I think you probably do, that this is basically an everyday occurrence in Haiti. Gangs coming, kidnapping people, gangs fighting each other. I mean, you have, infamous names such as Tonton Makute. These started basically getting a boost from the time of Papa Doc Duvalier, who basically hired gangsters and created gangs so that he could, let's be not squeamish about it, eliminate his opponents. So unfortunately from that time, there have been efforts to clean up the mess, but unfortunately the gangs have infiltrated into the political system. So different political parties have got gang members within them. They operate, maybe operating covertly, but they're there. So as a result, violence has become endemic in Haiti. It's become an everyday occurrence. And I think it's important to realize that this poses a grave security threat to the other large democracy in the world, which is the United States. There are many, hundreds of thousands of Haitians who are citizens of the US. Many more hundreds of thousands of Haitians are legal residents of the US. They're not illegal aliens. I mean, there are a whole lot of illegal Haitians as well. And the reality is the gang members, if they have any family left in Haiti, the gang members then threaten the gang. Basically, they go to the gang that controls that area and they collaborate with the gang, or they ensure through threats that the gang cooperates. And then what happens is that the family member who's in the US and a US citizen and an upright citizen, that look, we have got in our clutches, and watch out unless you do this and that and this. So this is the influence that the Haitian criminal gangs have. This is the influence that the mafias have, and these mafias have not accidentally been infiltrated by countries hostile to the United States as well. So it's a grave security threat to the US in particular, and I think it's important to understand, Vineet, that it can pose security threat to other parts of the world. Citizens are forced to commit they would not otherwise do for fear of retribution to the family members. And there are very few cases where entire families have been able to be shifted to the United States. Most individuals have families there, and many of them are still in contact with the families. So this is a terrible situation to be in. It's a grave security threat, and I'm sorry to say, Vinit, that we are talking in tones of surprise about Haitian violence. The reality is, it's become an everyday occurrence now, and that's why the citizens are finally protesting, and that's where the answer lies. The answer lies in funding citizens' movements against the gangs, and frankly, ensuring that squads of citizens take action against the gangs. And I think that needs to happen. And the only way to do that is by ensuring that we saw that in Kashmir, where frankly a large number of Kashmiris were disgusted at the approach of these people sent from Pakistan, and they said nothing to it. We're not going to support this anymore. And frankly, I mean, by divine providence, they somehow got the means to ensure that they could fight the Pakistan seas. And that fight, that intra-Kashmiri fight, basically it was decisive in breaking the back of the Kashmir effort at creating separation and insurgency in Kashmir, effort from across the border. Thank you.
Right, Professor Nalapat, one more question, sir, before we let you go. Obviously,
Sure.
you were right about Haiti and the Dominican Republic and Cuba, always facing these problems. But when we look at what's happening in Haiti, there was something similar which happened in Cuba as well, about a few decades ago, and there was this huge influx of criminals, moving into Florida, which the Americans could not stop. With the Trump government, having an iron claw on immigration, do you think such a problem could be avoided by the Americans because they have Donald Trump on the helm of affairs?
Well, I'm very sure that any person who tries to apply as a lawful resident will have a thorough check of friends, family, internet searches, etc., travel history, and all that, and there will definitely be an identification of suspicious elements who will definitely be prevented from landing in the United States. There is no doubt that it's an important point that you're raising, and these boat people did come across the Mariel boat, and I mean all that in Cuba. But the reality of the situation is that in Cuba, it's time for the Communist Party to say quits. I mean, it's long past time, and I think it's quite likely there'll be a popular movement against the Communist Party unless the Communist Party reads the tea leaves properly, and then they make ground for themselves. Because frankly, living so close to the United States, Haiti and Cuba, it can be a tremendous asset. And the United States is a great asset in Cuban Americans who fled communism. I mean, there were a few elements there who were communists, hopefully, or they were caught. But the reality is the overwhelming majority were staunch Cubans who were totally anti-communist, and they have proved to be a great, great asset to the United States and occupying some of the highest positions in the United States, Vineet.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Well, all the leaders